Hello, guys. This is Dustin again with the KJV Bible Advocate channel. Here again with you. I know it's been quite a while since my last post, my last YouTube video, but I wanted to come back on here because obviously there is a thirst out there for the truth and things that we're seeing all over the internet, social media is just continually. Um, I feel it's getting worse and worse. It's just getting more and more disgusting. The Epstein stuff doesn't stop. The corruption, the manipulation of markets, it's insane. Even people that have been in the markets investing have been saying, like, what's going on? It's just crazy. But I wanted to make this video and give you guys an idea of where or how I came to learn about the Word of God, to seek Christ, and how I became saved. So it's going to be quite a long story. I'm going to try to do my best to condense it. I don't want to have it be too long. So since I was around 6, 7, maybe even 5, I used to just, fantasize in my mind, think, well, what is the purpose? What is our purpose here on this earth? Why am I here? Why are we all here? Stuff like that. And I would ask these questions, and the only one that I could really trust was my father. I'd ask my dad, and then he would try to explain it to me in a scientific way. And I could tell he'd be surprised that I was asking that kind of those types of questions, or that I had those types of things in my mind at such a young age. But I was super intrigued and curious about what this life was all about. What was the purpose of it? I needed to know what the purpose was. And so I've always had that longing, So as I grew older, um, well, to give you guys an idea, my parents were Catholic, Roman Catholic, as most Hispanic parents are. Most Hispanics are super Roman Catholic. Like that's what we are raised into. We're raised into this cult, into believing that these statues are able to hear you, and it's just such a joke to me. So even since I was a child, I was like 5 or 6, I would be like, "What's wrong with these people?" Thinking that a statue made of whatever it's made out of can hear you or can offer you help, can help you or whatever, guide you and whatever. It was just laughable to me, even since as a child, I couldn't believe it. I was like, "What's wrong with these people worshiping these idols?" But at the same time, like that's all I knew at that young age. As a child, that's all I knew. That's all I was being taught, is that this is what you do. You go to church every Sunday, worship these idols, worship the person that they created and put on a cross, right? These images they created. And I knew in my heart that that was a lie. Because I would even try. Sometimes I would try to. I remember being a little kid at the church, and I tried to pray to these things, and I just felt so stupid. I was like, "Man, this is so stupid." And I can't just think about it now. I'm like, wow, I was thinking that way, and then, you know, blind people around me worshiping these statues. But anyway, Later on, as I grew older, probably around 8 or 9, luckily, my friend, a friend that I had in elementary school, I met his mother, and then she started basically slowly planting a seed in me about God. She would quote verses. She would even show me verses. She would respond to my questions with the Bible always. And later on, she ended up meeting my mother, my father. She first met my father, though. And so the way it worked is that she would, because I had to walk back home from school. My parents were working. So I had to walk back home from school. It wasn't too far, but my dad was always worried about me, cared for me. So he wanted someone to accompany me on my way back home from school. So he'd pay her a little bit of money to walk me back home. Sometimes I go to their place. She cooked some of the best Salvadorian food. I loved her cooking. Black beans, chicken. Still, it was delicious. And she would always give me a little lesson, or us, me, her son. She had an older son there too. And sometimes we had another friend from the school. And she was like this angel, basically working for God, working with families, trying to help families, trying to help children that were distressed, with whatever going on in the household, stuff like that. Trying to heal people's trauma. And she was very good at it. She was a woman of God. And she would answer my deep questions, or like, what is our purpose here, this or that, and she would just be like, okay, we're gonna read the Bible, let's see what it says. And sometimes I'd get upset. I'd be like, don't bring the Bible out. Like, tell me, being a stubborn little boy, a little Roman Catholic raised boy, I was like, don't bring that out. It's just, in my mind, I wouldn't say that. I mean, maybe I said it once or twice, but I wouldn't say that. But she would always respond with verses, and even show me where it was at. And sure enough, she would answer my questions with the Word of God. So it's incredible what had occurred. Because since I was 7, probably maybe even earlier, 6 or 7, I always had these episodes of like sleep paralysis at night, where something would come into my room and just try to torment me, try to like shake my bed. One time it even tried to choke me. And it wasn't a human. I knew it wasn't a human. It was a monster, like some type of devil. I never actually saw it. One time I tried to, as it was like, I could see the shadow, because I would cover my face. I didn't want to see anything. I'd cover my face, but I could see the shadow. And it was like, had this monstrous hands, and it was going slowly over me, over my head, and not over my head, but like close to over my chest. And I try to grab its thumbs with my little hands, and the thumbs were huge. It wasn't like a regular man's hands. Um, and they try to choke me. And I can't even, I don't know what happened. Like, I guess I just I woke up super scared that time. That night I was like super scared. I just remember that. But this would happen like not every day, but like probably every 3 days or every couple days. uh, until I was like getting tired of it, and I was like, I gotta battle this. And so my friend's mother would come over and try to do like I don't know what they call it, deliverance kind of thing. Try to pray over the household, pray over us, my family, try to cleanse the home basically. And yeah, it worked for a couple days, but then we'll be back. But I guess it has to do with just the enemy just trying to attack a young child, young defenseless child that doesn't know what to do in a situation like that. Barely knows anything about life. So I always had those like sleep paralysis, those types of really bad dreams, nightmares at night. But I wasn't really like I wasn't the nicest kid either. I was kind of a little devil. So that was probably the reason why God allowed that to happen at that time. I wasn't such a nice kid. Um, but I remember one night I did see a shooting star and I prayed. I was like, because I thought that, they say that if you see a shooting star, you can make a wish, come true. So I prayed. I said, God, make me a good boy because I was such a bad kid. My mom was always angry at me or I was having to get spanked. Um, so after that, I kind of feel like I got a little better here and there. But, you have bad acquaintances, friends that steer you the wrong way, and you go back to the old ways. But yeah, as I grew older, I started to try to read the Bible, try to go to church. Not that I was perfect. I mean, there were times where I just stopped going or stopped reading the Bible. And the worst thing is that when I was in high school, I started getting into the New Age stuff. And that's when the sleep paralysis came. The episodes were a lot more frequent during that time because I believed I was my own God during that time. Because of this New Age movement, these New Age books I was reading. So eventually I came back to the Lord, I think around 16 or 17, around there. And I was going to church, doing the church thing, reading the Bible. Then I came across, I was doing a lot of research. I was like, I got to find the truth. I got to find out what's going on. Because I could read, I was reading the NIV. And I was like, there's no power in this thing. Because I kept having sleep paralysis. I kept having these devils trying to basically torment me at night. Because, I mean, if you don't have a good night's rest, you're, like for me, especially like for people like me, it's really like the next day, you just feel terrible. It's just, it's a terrible, it's not good. So I started researching and then I think I found Brother Brian. Thank God I found Brian Denlinger. I found his Bible reviews, his King James Bible reviews, and that's how I got my first King James Bible. I think it was from Church Bible Publishers. That's another really good place to get a Bible. If you guys need a King James Bible, you can go to churchbiblepublishers.com. You can also get the study Bible from purewordsofTruth.com, from